Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yacht Operations Unlimited. Captain Bill here. We're going to show you knots. So we're calling this Why Not Knots? We need knots all the time. We use knots all the time. And we're going to show you the few of the most important ones to remember. And of course, the bowline is number one. So I'm going to put my banner up here for a few seconds. I can't do it at the beginning because they say I'm advertising. Not advertising, I'm offering free information. So just to give me a few seconds and we'll get right into it. All right. Got a beautiful orange rope today. This is the end of the line. I got about 25 feet down here somewhere. Bowline is the simplest if you do it the same way all the time. Okay. And this is how I do it. I make a loop. My line's on top of the loop. My rabbit decides to come out of the hole. He goes around this tree. And then he goes back into the hole. You tighten it up. It's bowline. Try to remember what a bowline looks like. It's got this loop here cinching everything together. It's got this loop here called the back. When it gets really tight, you bend this over, you break the back to untie your knot. One more time. Make a loop. I'm going to try to do it with my hands not in the way. Line's on top. Rabbit comes out of the hole. He runs around this tree and he goes back into the hole. I call this the correct bowline. The tail is on the inside of the loop, not the outside. If I was to have this rabbit run around the tree in the other direction, you'd see the tail is on the other side. And the reason I don't like that is this could hang up on stuff, get caught up. If it's inside the loop, it has less of a tendency to do that. All right, everybody, try it again. Make a loop. Our line's on top. Rabbit comes out of the hole, rounds the tree, and he goes back into the hole. Very simple. Practice that a few hundred times, and you'll have a bowline. Now, what if our line is coming from the other direction? My 25-foot of line is that way. I'm working towards me. How do I do it now? Well, you cross your lines like this, and you leave your tail on top. You pinch it with your thumb on the bottom. You twist and roll, and it comes out, and the rabbit is already coming out of his hole. You wrap around the tree, go back into his hole, and you have a bowline. Cinched on top, break the back on the back, and the tail's on the inside. Do it again. We cross our line. Put our thumb on the bottom. Pinch it. And we twist. I don't like doing this one this way. We twist and flip. Okay. Now watch. I'm going to twist and put the tail in the hole. We twist and flip. Rabbit's already out of his hole. He goes around the tree and sticks his head back in. Got a bowline. One more time. We cross the line, put our thumb on the bottom. We twist into our hole and out. There you go. The rabbit's out of the hole already. Goes around the tree, sticks his head back in, and we tie up our bowline. Okay. we're going to go back to the original way so you remember. Practice the other one, the loop on top. Rabbit comes out, goes around the tree, and he comes back in. Now that we got this bowl in here, we could use this for several things. Tying on to pylons, putting this and sticking it through the cleat, tying back onto the cleat, and trying all kinds of things. But if you really wanted to make sure or a little extra safety, you could always put a half hitch on it on the inside, your tail, like so. That just makes a little extra safety. Bowling with a half hitch on the tail. So I made my tail longer, and I just stick a half hitch into it. Okay. One last time. Make a loop. Come out of the hole. Wrap around the tree. Go back into the hole. And cinch it up. We use this bowline for everything. Tying to trees. Yeah, I mean, you literally, anytime you needed a loop in the line that won't get tighter, okay, that's going to stay like that. And you can put all kinds of pressure you want on this sucker. I mean, we use this. We'll put a tug and a tow on there, or barges, and you'll always be able to get it off. Okay. The only reason I say this with question marks is it really depends on how much you put on it. Okay. Because the longer it sits, the harder it is to get out. All you have to do is break the back. Okay. You should break the back down and the knot comes apart. Okay. I'll show you that, how to break the back on the board here. Quick bowline. Rabbit comes out of the hole, around the tree, back into the hole. You tighten it up, and we can cinch. We want on this. The back is here. Okay, this is the back, and if you look, where it gets most of the tension is on what I call the cinch part of the line. This gets really tight. This isn't taking much. Okay. But when you go to untie it, if for some reason this was on here for a long time, all you do is you break the back. You fold the back over, and everything comes apart. Okay. I'm going to show you another knot I use a lot. It's called a bowline on a bite. This gives us two eyes that don't get tighter, and you can tie it in the middle of the line. It's not as strong as a bowline. It does take a little bit more strength away from the line, but there's good places for it. Okay, so here we are, our line. We're going to get in the middle of the line, which is called the bite. Now, on this, it's a little tricky, so I'm going to try to do it so you can see. Make a loop. Okay. Now, we take this part, the loop that we would have used on the bone, and we're going to shove this through like the rabbit went through. And we're going to grab that. We're going to grab the end on the top, and we're going to pull it over. Now we made a bowline on a bite. It's got the cinch part, it's got the back part, and it's got two eyes. I've used this before. I'm going to show you on the board. I've used this before. I've made a harness out of this. I had to climb up a mast. And then what I literally did is I put my legs in here and I sat in this. And then I used upper part and I tied a bowline around my body, held me to the rope, and then I used the rope to haul me up. I'm not saying it's safe and I wouldn't practice it, but in a pinch, you got to get somewhere. This is a rope to use. I'm going to show you a couple knots for the same scenario here. All right. We're going to do the bowline on the bite on the board here. Here's our bite. We make our loop like we did before with the line on top. Okay. Comes around, comes out. Now what we do is we send, I don't know how to call it. We'll call this loop 1. We send the loop 1 or loop 2. Loop 1, loop 2. We'll take loop 2, put it through loop 1. And we stick our fingers and grab the other part of it. And we flip it over the top. And then that's our bowling on a bite. Okay. It's got the cinch part. It's got the back. It's got 2 loops. It's a knot that needs a lot of space to make. I really can't do it too well on here, but I want to show it to you and you practice it out. Okay. Here's our bite. We make our loop 1. We got loop 2. We pass loop 2 through loop 1. Then we put our hand in loop 2 and grab the legs of it, let's say. And we pull it through. And then we take loop 2 and fold it to the back. That's how it looks. Okay, I don't want to spend much more time on this one. You don't really use it that much, but it's a good one to have in the arsenal. Do it one more time for you. Make loop 1. Take loop 2 through loop 1. Grab the legs and fold the loop along the back. And pull it together. Okay. Said, done. Now, we'll come back here. Bowling is the number 1 knot you're going to use. Bowling on the bite you might use in certain situations. Like I said, if I made a harness out of it and I used it to climb a sailboat mast. Every knot here I'm going to show you is going to have something to do with that scenario and how to handle your lines. Let's do a half hitch and a clove hitch. Half hitch I don't use hardly at all, but everybody has to know it and show it to you. So you get set up here. Okay, see how we get, oh, go that way. All right. So here's our railing that we have here. Then it's the side railing of your boat or something. And a half hitch is something we do all the time, which is crazy, but we do. Nobody likes it. It gets tight. It can't come off. Everybody uses a half hitch. Sometimes we'll use a half hitch at the end of lines to help secure them. A quick example would be if I made my bowline under here, and if I left a lot of line over in my tail, I could put a half hitch in here to secure it, just a little tighter. All right, half hitches are used. I don't like using them much, but it's something everybody has to have, I guess. So simple half hitch, we go over our rail, we cross our line, come through our loop, and go half hitch. Now clove hitch is one we use a lot. Here's our railing. We come over the railing. We come around it and go to the other side. We cross the rail. And then we take the tail and we go up right along our original standing line under the cross. And you have clove hitch. Use this a lot. Okay, this will spin around stuff. Okay. One more time. Take our line, we go over, go to one side, go across, and come up through next to our standing part of the line. Clove hitch. What if we did it the other way? All right, let's do it the other way. We come across on this side. We cross our line. We come up. And we come underneath next to our standing part of the line. still a clove hitch. You got crosses right here, holding on down, clove hitch. Now, this is the one I like. I call it, oh, wait. Let's go. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, a clove hitch with a loop in it. So if we were to tie a regular clove hitch, right? And now we're going to pass this underneath. But instead of that, if we take a loop and pass it underneath. Okay. What did we do? We made a clove hitch, but it's simple to undo. We just pull this and it comes right off. I use this all the time for fenders. When I'm tying a fender onto a railing, or I'm going to hang my coil of rope onto a railing. Watch. We go over, we cross, but instead of bringing the tail through, okay, we bring a loop through and tie down on it. See what that looks like? All we do is pull this and it comes right off. We cross. Instead of bringing the tail through, bring a loop through. Tie it. All right, now for another knot. Stretch. The next knot I used to climb the sailboat mast. You could use it in several different ways. This is a line that will slide in one direction only and won't in the other direction unless you want it to. Okay, and I use this knot. I had two of them. I tied them onto a sailboat mast, and then I had two loops below it, bowlines. And I put my feet into the loops. I lifted one leg and lifted up the knot and let it cinch onto the mast. Lifted up the other leg, let it cinch on the mast. Lift up the other leg, and I walked up the mast that way. And I did it with my harness on and loops. Why? Accidentally, somebody let the halyard loose and it was on the top, and we had to go get it. We didn't have another one to pull us up with. But anyhow, all right, let's put it on the board. All right, so here's our pole. I'm doing this vertical instead of horizontal, but it works the same thing. Okay, I'll show it to you on horizontal later. Say that we don't want it to slide this way. Okay, we do not want this to slide this way, only this way. So what you do is when you do your clove hitch, usually we take one line and we cross. But instead, we're going to do more. The slipperier, the more loops you put. I did 3. Now I'm going to cross. Now I'm going to take the tail and stick it under and tie it down. Okay, so it's a clove hitch, but it's got 3 wraps on one side. So in theory, you got to get it pretty tight though. This won't slide this way, but I can slide it this way. It won't go this way, but it will go that way. Can I make it? Sure. I'm going to try to put pressure on this. You take your hand on the back of the knot back here and you push down in the direction you want it to go. Okay. I'll untie it. Tie it one more time. Okay. Go around our slippery object. The direction we do not want it to go in, we wrap a couple more wraps. The slipperier, the more wraps we have to put. We cross. We tuck in under the original standing part of the line. And here we go. I call it a slipping clove hitch. Won't go that way. Will go that way. Won't go that way. I'm going to bring it up to the board here. So here it is. Let everything focus in. So this is it. It's got the 3 loops on this side, the one on this side. So here I am. I could push it up, but it won't come down. Push it up. It won't come down. If I want it to come down, I reach in the back and I push on the knot and it comes straight down. Okay, very handy knot. You can use that for tying things down in your truck. You can use that for different things. I like it's a very handy knot. I call that the slipping clovage. Anything else y'all might want to know, give me a call or shoot me a message, make a response in here, and I'll figure it out, and I'll try to post things, send me some questions and stuff like that. I would appreciate them. Also, please subscribe if you haven't, and click a like on it, and it helps out a lot. All right. Y'all have a great day, and see you next time. Okay.